What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a beautiful day. So I cut my hair today drastically. It was like up to here and now it's very short and I don't know how to style it, so I feel like it kind of looks like a mop. And I'm not good with like hair stuff in general, so it's most likely not gonna get better, so just get used to the mop. But I actually really like it. I feel a lot more myself, so that's good. But today this video has nothing to do with my hair. Well, maybe if you think like cutting your hair is like getting rid of negative energy, some people think that, then sure, it's spiritual. Today I'm going to be talking about my spiritual journey, which is like, I don't know, 8 years of my life, and this stuff that I believe in is, you know, maybe crazy to a lot of people, and a lot of the stuff that I've experienced about these spiritual topics are, you know, a little woo-woo out there, and when I tell them to people, they just look at me like I'm insane and ask me if I'm on drugs. So I don't know how to put all that into like a 20-minute video and like tie it up with a nice bow and give it to you. So I'm gonna try my best. Also, this is the first time I'm gonna be like fully speaking about spirituality. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this part of my life, I like downplay it a lot, and even with the people that are like closest to me, I don't really talk about it because no one around me is into spirituality. So I just like, I don't know, I feel like I've already come across kind of you know, crazy. So I tend to keep this to myself, but I just recently came to the conclusion that, you know what, I love this part of me and I'm gonna share it. So here we are. I feel like the crazy ship has sailed a long time ago, so we're just gonna embrace it. I'm gonna stop rambling now and let's get into my story. Okay, so let's take this story back to the beginning when I was born in a Slavic country of 2 million people. So you already know it's not gonna be very diverse, and that's how I grew up. No diversity. And so I grew up in a very atheist environment. I would say a pretty close-minded environment, and there were a lot of people who did consider themselves as Christian, but no one really talked about religion or spirituality around me. And if they did talk about it, it was very close-minded and very much like putting those people down for having beliefs about things that are not proven. And so me growing up in that environment and never really experiencing anything different and never experiencing anything just like on my own that would change my mindset and like change my perspective, I unfortunately took on some of those beliefs. And in my mind, thankfully, I never like went around trash talking people for the fact that they believed in stuff. But in my mind, I was very closed off to religion and spirituality, and I took on those beliefs that it's stupid and that, like, why would you ever believe in something that's not proven? Why would you believe in God? Why would you? That's just so stupid. You know, that's unfortunately how I was thinking. And at the time I was very young. I was like, I don't know, 12 in my embarrassing years, and I thought I was really smart. Yeah, just knew everything, and obviously I didn't at all. And I hit my like very dark times in like, I don't know, 7th grade probably is when it like really took off. And I wasn't really social. I was mostly in my room watching YouTube videos, and that's when I started my YouTube channel, like later on. And I stumbled upon videos about astrology, and I'm an Aries, so naturally I like to hear people talk about me. Yay. And so I was watching videos about Aries and like Aries qualities and all this stuff, and at the time I had no idea that astrology is like so much more than just your sun sign. And so even like going into watching those videos, I was interested in what these people are saying because they were talking about me. But I was still like very close-minded about it. I was like, this is so broad, this is like so dumb. That means like everyone, like 1/12 of this world is the same as me. That makes no sense. It's stupid. But I somehow continued watching, and then I found this channel by Elisa Sharp. I'll link it down below, and I fell in love with her. I love her so much. I wish we could be friends. She was just like, she's so cool to me. in my eyes, and she just made astrology seem so like interesting and so cool. And she also, the way she talks about it, it's very like easy to understand. She's very informative. Yes, she makes jokes, and she's just like a really nice, cool person to watch. So if you want to get into astrology, I really recommend her channel. I'll link it below. Then through her YouTube channel, I found out about the fact that we all have a birth chart filled with different houses, planets, signs, freaking everything. And I was very interested. Like, this was so interesting to me. I have never found anything like this before, and it was very weird for me to start believing something that wasn't and can't probably be proven. It was going like completely against what I've been taught about how I've been my whole life. Like, I was living in this little box, and everything that's proven by science is all that we care about, and that's it. And like, nothing else actually exists. People who believe in anything else are dumb. And all of a sudden, I was that person who was dumb for believing in something that like can't be proven. But I fell in love with astrology. Like, and when I fell in love with astrology and actually got really interested in it is when I found my birth chart, but especially when I found my moon sign, because your moon sign is like this deep part of you. It's your emotions. It's very personal, and you find out about people's moon signs when you get really close to them. Like, it's not something that people show off unless your moon is in the first house, like mine. It's out there for everyone to see, and that's why I appear like a Cancer, even though I'm not. And I have no Cancer in my chart whatsoever. Sidetrack. Anyway, so I was mind fucked. Like, I was just watching this video and I could relate so hardcore, and it was so specific. I felt so understood, and like, this is like a very deep part of me. And at the time, I was really young. I was, I don't know, 14. I had no idea who I was. I was super lost, and my Mercury is in Aries. I have a Gemini moon. I'm fucking all over the place. Like, in my mind, it's a mess. So for someone to like give me all this information that I've been feeling and thinking I could never really like comprehend and understand, it felt like they were like translating myself to me, if that makes any sense, and like just putting it on a platter and being like, here you go, I'll make your life a little easier. And I can't even describe how helpful that was, and I became obsessed with astrology. I talked about it so much, and there was definitely a part of me that felt kind of shameful, and I felt like I was going to be judged for being like dumb or out there or weird, because like this was out of this box that I was placed in. Like, it was so far away from this box, and at the time I had no idea I'd get even further away from it. There's no box anymore. It's who knows where. I still love astrology. I still talk about it way too much, and yeah, so that was the first part to my spirituality. And the reason why I've been talking about it for so long is because that was like a huge part of my spiritual journey, because that was the first time I ever like got out of this little box and thought that there's something more out there. So this really was the beginning of my spiritual journey, and probably the most important step towards where I am now when it comes to spirituality. And after that, like, there were so many little parts on this journey, so I'm just gonna kind of quickly go through the ones that are not that important, but they all kind of play a big role in, you know, my spirituality and what I believe in now. And so one of the steps was that I became vegan, and that I feel like deepened my spiritual connection. And I know that sounds kind of odd, but I've heard so many people talk about it, so I just wanted to mention it. I wasn't really aware of it at the time, but when I look back, I feel like it was a really, really big step in me just feeling more connected to myself and to nature and to animals, which definitely like deepened my spirituality in a way. And I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, I thought I'd mention it. And then the two kind of important steps to my spiritual beliefs that I hold now was Buddhism. It started with Buddhism. I watched a video of a girl who was Buddhist, and I don't know, felt like called to watch her video. And so I did, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is a religion, but it's like not dumb. I don't think any religion is dumb now that I have more of a brain. Well, there's a lot of religions out there, so I'm not gonna claim that, but you know, the widely spread ones I'm cool with. I know there's some crazy shit out there, so whatever. So yeah, I started researching a ton of stuff about Buddhism, and I know one of the people that I watched on YouTube was Koi. He has a channel all about spirituality, Koi Fresco, I don't know. I'll link him down below. Yeah, so through Koi, I found out a bunch of stuff about like chakras, about I think even like the law of attraction, maybe meditation, like third eye, astral projection, lucid dreaming, all this stuff that like I'm all about now. And like I think even crystals, maybe. I don't know if all of this was through him, but just like YouTube in general, and a lot about Buddhism. So I felt really called towards Buddhism. At the time, I had no idea there was this whole world of like that you can just be spiritual without being a part of a religion. That just like didn't click for me. So I was like, oh, maybe Buddhism is going to be something for me, because I know that all the other religions I've like come across don't really resonate fully with me, and I am definitely not an atheist anymore. Like I think there's a lot more out there. And so I really dove into Buddhism, and I was watching so many documentaries, I was reading books about it, videos, like so many things. And I really liked Buddhism, but I never like called myself a Buddhist. I never got to that point, because I'm someone who finds, you know, something, I'm obsessed with it for a while, and like I want to learn as much about it as possible, and then I usually move on to something else. Like I rarely stick to something and put myself in like boxes, if that makes sense. I don't commit. That's a better word. I'm bad at commitment. So yeah, I, you know, obviously found out a lot of I guess very spiritual topics through Buddhism, and about like meditations and all this stuff. And just Buddhism is so amazing, and I feel like it's more of a philosophy than a religion, but because it's so widely spread, it's considered a religion. So if you want to get into spirituality, I feel like starting with like learning about Buddhism is probably a really good start. Then I found out about the law of attraction, which is still a pretty big part of what I believe in. That's the first time I heard about the concept of like believing in the universe and not in like a god or many gods. You know, that was the first time I heard the term of, you know, and then the universe brings you this, and then blah blah blah, the universe, we believe in the universe. And that really resonated with me, because I felt like that was like not putting myself in a box. And so I liked it. And so that's when I started thinking about, oh, the universe is looking out for me. Oh, the universe brought me this. I'm grateful for the universe for bringing me this. Like that was when I found out about it. And that's still like what I believe in. My source, my God, higher power that I believe in, I call it the universe. So that's when I found out about it. And also that's when I found out about the law of attraction, which I also still believe in, even though I'm not the biggest fan of The Secret anymore. At the time, I feel like I was in a very dark place when I found out about it, and I think it did a lot more damage than good to me at the time, with just the way they explained it, not the law of attraction itself, but the way they explained it in the documentary, I feel like did a lot more harm than good. But I learned something that's a really big part of my spirituality now, and so I'm very grateful for that documentary, but I just feel like they could have explained it a little bit better, maybe. I don't know. Just my opinion. And also that documentary gave me the feeling and the belief that I am in control of my life, and it gave me motivation, because when I found out about it, it was just right before I went to a mental hospital. And so I was super motivated to get the hell out of there and like heal. And I feel like if I didn't watch that documentary, I probably wouldn't be so motivated, and therefore wouldn't be able to really start my healing journey the way that I did. And so I'm very grateful for that documentary, don't get me wrong. It did a lot of good as well. And as I said, that was like the first time where I watched so many people that were a part of that documentary that weren't like religious. They didn't like call themselves a Buddhist, a Christian, or anything. They were just spiritual, and that really applied to me because I felt like it gave me freedom to explore and to take on the beliefs that applied to me and leave other ones behind. Because before that, I thought, I don't know why, that like I can just be an atheist, or I can be agnostic, or I can be Christian or Buddhist. Like I have to pick. And yeah, at the time I was really into labels. Even like my sexuality, I decided to label that, make a whole video about it. And now I just like don't even, like that's not how I think anymore. But at the time I did, because I had no idea who I was, and so labels kind of helped me, I guess. Also, I totally forgot to mention this, but I feel like this is a very important part to my whole spiritual journey, and it's the fact that I experienced hallucinations. That was part of my mental illness at the time. That's why I went to the mental hospital. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because that, I feel like, opened something in my brain.